Hello, everybody. Welcome. We're so grateful to be here today. It's a great pleasure of mine to have the opportunity to introduce Dr. Peter Hadoba, who's coming to us today. Lex and I are coming to you from the Master Sha Dao Center in Sydney, and Dr. Peter is over in Vancouver. We have a great pleasure, a very exciting event coming up next weekend, which is a Shen medicine event. You'll get to hear a little bit more about Shen medicine today, and it's a spiritual approach to physical healing. So this is going to be a workshop available, 2-day workshop on the 21st and 22nd. Sorry, the 22nd and 23rd. So that's next weekend, and it's going to be broadcast all around the world. So anyone is able to join us from wherever you are and receive this incredible teaching, wisdom, and healing that is being made available to you. So I'm just going to take a brief moment to introduce Peter, Dr. Peter. Dr. Peter was the top of his field, a neurosurgeon and a researcher and professor. He'd really followed the academic path, and he'd reached the pinnacle in that world, but always from a young age. I've heard his story many times, and it's touched my heart very deeply. From a young age, he was being called to the spiritual path, and that's what led him to the teachings of Master Sha, and to become Master Sha's first master teacher, I believe. Is that right, Peter? Did I get that right? Was it you were the first ever master teacher of Master Sha? I hope I got that right.
We were several of us, but I was named first. So
there we go. Excellent. So it's a great. It's so good to have you with us today, and we're going to get into some really juicy questions. And I'm going to hand over to Lex now, one of our master teachers here in Sydney, Australia, who some of you may have had the pleasure of knowing. And we're going to dive a little bit deeper into what Shen medicine is and how it may be able to serve you, as well as getting to hear a little bit more about Peter's journey and the upcoming workshop next weekend. So I'll hand over to you now, Lex.
Thank you, Alexander, and welcome, Dr. Peter. It's always a pleasure to have you with us here in Australia. So I've just got a few questions, Dr. Peter, to sort of allow our audience just to connect a little bit about, connect to you and a little bit about what you do, and possibly a little bit of an experience as well at the end of this session. So I've sort of done a little bit of my research over the week. Of course, I've known you, Dr. Peter, for a number of years, and you've been very instrumental in my healing journey and my spiritual journey. So which has been absolutely wonderful. And coupled with that and a little bit of research that I've done, there's some questions that I just wanted to ask today. And I know next week we'll also have an opportunity to maybe go a little bit deeper with some of these questions. But I just wanted to start with what, I was watching one of your YouTube videos the other day, and what touched me when you talked about this aspect of be brave and pursue your dreams, because you have quite an incredible story. Born and raised in Czechoslovakia, collecting herbs with your grandmother and mother, and having that connection to, herbal remedies, and then moving into acupuncture, and then the research and just how it unfolded. But you spoke about one of your dreams was to become a professor, and this connection with medicine and serving, which was very, very beautiful, and you achieved it. You pursued your dreams and you achieved it. But my first question though is, I know you were at this point, as Alexander shared, you were the professor, you were teaching the neurosurgeons, you'd reached very much the pinnacle of your career. But then all of a sudden you stopped at that time and you went to the monastery. You followed the Taoist way, you went to China. I'd love to understand, if you to explain to the audience, what was it that made you make such a huge decision in your life?
Yeah, thank you. This is a very, very, very just to the core question. Lex, it's like this. When I was little boy, I was very fond of the old Greek stories. The European civilization, we started actually from Greece. Many things were started in Greece and then spread through the Europe. And then finally we took them all over the world. So I was very much fascinated by man Hippocrates. Hippocrates is considered the father of our European medicine, Western style of medicine. And then many illnesses are still having the names he actually gave to them. You know, he was very, very smart person. So bronchitis, it is his word, or hysterectomy, that's hystera is his word. Psychotherapy, psychology, all the words he was using. And so hemiparesis, hemiplegia, the weakness of, you know, when we get a stroke. So all these words he was using. And so that tells you that he was able to recognize illnesses and names them, and we still 2,500 years later we are using the same words, and we even practice medicine to major degree as he was teaching. We do history, we do examination, and then we do diagnosis, and finally we do treatment. 4 steps. That's what he actually designed. Not many people, however, know that he was also a priest. And so besides treating patients by herbs, by surgery, and so forth, he also did a spiritual healing. In first hospital in the Europe, on the island of Kos. That first hospital in Europe happened to be also a temple of the god Asclepius, god of medicine. And more I was becoming a doctor, more successful I was deeply missing this second aspect of our trade. It is not only science, it is art also. To practice medicine is both science and art. But there is still the third component that has been removed, and that is the spiritual part of the process. It actually has 3 parts, 3 components: science, art, and spirit. And that was so badly missing in me. I just couldn't bear any longer to be just doctor who is doing surgery and talking to the patient and then go home and that's it. It just could not satisfy me, and I was having this deep longing in me. So I had to be brave enough to step out of the box and go for the search until I found it.
Wonderful. I never knew that background to medicine, how it had that spiritual connection at the roots, and taking that step. Because I know there's so many doctors who are following this similar path where they have this aspect of helping people, but then bringing all aspects together. I know that's a very key aspect of what Master Sha does with bringing West and East and the spiritual as well. Wonderful. So, Dr. Peter, I heard you talking about an example of someone with an ulcer. They have an ulcer, and then you sort of shared one would, drink antacid, for example, to treat. Sure enough, the pain would come back in a matter of hours, and one could then take the step of seeing a doctor or going to the pharmacist and receiving medication. But sure enough, the pain would come back, and then you progressed it to energetic healing, for example. You referenced acupuncture, so to address the energetic blockages that exist, and then you went on to share that as a result of the acupuncture, energy flow is restored in the body, but sure enough, in a week or 2 weeks, the energy is blocked again. Then you shared why is the blockage happening? So we're addressing the blockage, but then you went deeper, this aspect of deeper. Why is the blockage happening? Then you mentioned quantum entanglement. I was just wondering for our audience if you could probably explain just a little bit more what you meant as, You know, because there's this aspect of we're suffering and we're doing so much, and then the opportunity to meet so many people who are trying to deal with their challenges, whatever they are, but for some reason the challenges always continue to return. So I was just wondering if you could touch on this aspect, the big question, and how you could sort of share from the perspective of Shen medicine, what is the root cause of this blockage, and what is this quantum entanglement you refer to?
Yeah, now that's a very important question. So the quantum entanglement is something from the modern times, something where we are understanding the reality on quantum level. That is a very modern term, and quantum entanglement is well, probably, if you allow me, I will probably go a little bit to the beginning of my of the first question, you know, where you were talking about the Shen medicine. So maybe that will help the people to understand this second question. Yeah. So what is the basic idea of the Shen medicine? Shen means a message. And so the Shen medicine is a medicine where we understand everything as a message. The illness has a message. The health has a message. Everything has a message behind it. Let me, we have these messages in our body for everything what is happening. We have messages on mental level, messages on physical level, messages on energy level, messages on spiritual level. So let me just share you some of my slides. Share the screen. Can you see my screen?
Not at this point, Dr. Peter.
Oh my goodness. So how can I share the screen? It doesn't want to show me the screen. My goodness.
Dr. Peter, I think if you click down the bottom, can you see a few settings that say mute, stop cam, and then share?
Yeah. So there is the share, but when I click on the share the screen, I click on share the screen. So share the screen. Can you see my screen?
No, we can't.
Okay, select. Okay, I see. So Shen medicine PowerPoint. Can you see it?
Yes, now we can. Excellent.
Perfect. Wonderful.
Perfect. Okay, thank you. So this is one of my slides. I will be showing on the workshop many slides. So this one is the DNA. This is what we have in every cell. And as you see these colored things, there are different these amino acids. Yeah. Now that is like a Morse code. That sequence of these colored things is like a message that is our gene for any kind of function in the cell. So let's say we are digesting sugar, or we are producing some hormone, whatever cell is doing, there is a code for it. So we have these messages on body level. If there is some problem, that some part of the message is broken, that function of the cell is also not correct, and then there is an illness. We can have a messages also on the mind level. Do you know this logo?
Yes.
What it is?
Part of it reminds me of the United Nations, but I think it's also connected with medicine.
Aha. So this is the logo of the World Health Organization.
That's it. Okay.
WHO. Now, as you can see, this staff, here is a stick, and around it is a snake. So that snake is a god of medicine from the Hippocrates temple. This is what they were worshipping. They were worshipping god of medicine who was a snake. That is from the Hippocrates times. It is still with us, but people forgot long time ago what was the meaning. But once you see this, you know that image is related to medicine. That the message comes to our mind and we right away know what is happening, yeah? So we have then the messages on the energy level. For example, when we are doing healing with the energy from the healing hands, Tao healing hands, we send the light, very pure energy, and it goes somewhere and does the transformation of the energy. So that's also the message. That's a message on the energy level. And so that's a main idea, is that we have these messages coming, and they we can bring the positive message to change something in our body. And how we do that? We do that on the quantum level.
Yeah, fascinating. It's not a fair question in such a short period of time, Dr. Peter, but I know it's just a small taste of what we're going to experience next weekend, when you can really take us into the deep dive, because we're really addressing this root cause of why we're suffering in all aspects. So, but thank you. That was wonderful. A wonderful little taste. So, Dr. Peter, we know that you represent what we call the Shah Research Foundation, and it's very, very exciting, the work you do, because I think when we talk about spirituality, for many people, the spirituality can just sort of be up here, but you bring this aspect of the science and the medicine to validate this spiritual work. So it's very, very exciting, because there's many people out there who may not consider themselves spiritual or religious, but has that connection to the science and to the data. And this is what is, for me, very, very exciting, because your work can validate this incredible world of healing that I feel we're only just touching on. So it's very, very exciting. Now, I'd love you to actually, what I'd like to ask first is, based on the teachings of Shen medicine, could you share with our audience an experience of your self-healing journey? You know, a little experience of how you've applied this wisdom and these practices for yourself. Maybe you could share, you know, a little story of self-healing in your life as a result. That'd be wonderful.
Oh, there are so many, my goodness. I can tell you, for example, I was actually in Australia, and when I travel, I call my family every day. And I heard that my mom has a problem. She was sick. She got sick, had a cough. And so I did a healing from Australia back home, across the whole Pacific. I mean, down and under, it's a 16-hour flight. But I offered her healing. I sent a very special light, and my mom got better right away. And then I offered the healing again for following day, and she was much, much better. So, you know, on my own family, I used this many times. I mean, over 20 years I'm with Master Shah. It's many times. With myself, for example, I had a back pain, and I helped a lady in the airplane to lift up the luggage, to put it into the into the place about us when we sit. And big mistake, it was full of books. It was so heavy, man. And I got a back pain. And so then what I did, I just offered myself the healing, and I was healing, and I was much better very quickly. So there are many examples. So that's just two.
It's very exciting. I mean, there's so much to sort of understand and to learn. But at the end of the day, if we get that healing, we see that positive change. That's wonderful. Whether we understand it or not, of course, it's so wonderful to understand the wisdom and how it all works. But it's that aspect of experience, which leads me perfectly to my next question. And clearly, in the workshop, there'll be just that opportunity to experience this healing and apply it, because that's number one. It's wonderful to have this wisdom, but the best part about the wisdom is where we can actually embody it, experience, and see that healing in our lives. So, Peter, what I would love, Dr. Peter, what I would love now is, I know we'll be talking about Shen medicine, which is your latest book that you've written, and I know in that book you have like 47 cases where you worked with people, sick people, and observed them over a period of 3 years. And the aspect of their healing was directly related to this Tao calligraphy. This Tao calligraphy pioneered by Dr. and Master Zhigang Sha. So I know there was specific work done with these 47 cases where they used Tao calligraphy. It's all very mind-blowing, very hard to understand. What I'd love for our audience is to actually just have a little taste, just a little experience of this Tao calligraphy power. So is it possible, Dr. Peter, to give us perhaps a little bit of experience with what you had done with these case studies for our audience?
Yes, of course, I would be delighted. So let me show you again my slides. When we practice with students and clients in the research, we use a very simple technique. So we put the hand into this position that we join our fingers, and then it is just a matter of tracing the calligraphy. So you can start from here, top, and slowly continue with all your fingers, join hand like this, and follow, and you come down, and then you restart from the top again. And so you tell the calligraphy, the healing power in this calligraphy, please offer me help me with this issue. So somebody can have a nose, that they have a runny nose, or they have a problem in shoulder, or whatever you ask. And one more thing, we never replace conventional medicine. We always do this as an add-on. This is not making diagnosis. This is not replacing the standard treatment. We are proponents of integrative medicine, include everything. Yeah. So don't try to do this on your own and decide that you would not see your doctor anymore. That's absolutely no. We do not advise anyone. So let's try to put your hands like this, and the fingers of one hand, and I will share with you a beautiful calligraphy. You just tell that calligraphy, please offer me the help, whatever you want to help with. Yeah. So let's go back to that calligraphy, which I already showed. And let's follow the line. Yeah, like this, follow. And we will be repeating the words greatest love, because this calligraphy means greatest love. And it is bringing a very beautiful positive message to us. Great as love, 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 great as love. Great as love, 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 great as love. Great as love, 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 great as love. How? I suddenly started to feel so peaceful, so happy. I didn't want to stop, but I think that you also.
Thank you, Dr. Peter. There's something very beautiful about and chanting love. There's something very special. With I could just feel a really beautiful warmth across my chest in just such a short period. So thank you so much for that. I know in the workshop we're going to have the opportunity to really actually delve more into the practices and experience that. But it's quite incredible how it seems very simple and very, very beautiful. So very excited to experience more of this certainly in the weekend to come. But I have one more question. I'm very mindful of the time. I know we're going to join you again next week for another little half-hour session and get the opportunity to ask some more questions. But a personal question for me is, as I understand this aspect of the research and the significance of it, and the reason behind it to give to validate this form of healing. And as I said, just reading the case studies and seeing the healing and seeing the data is very, very exciting. Just to give people the opportunity to just go, have a go. Here's the data, have a go, because it's only good to result. But just a personal question to you, Dr. Peter. If you could say in like one or a couple of sentences, what is your personal message as a result of doing this research and understanding why you're doing this research? But for you to our audience and to anyone who sees this, what is your message truly behind this work that drives you?
I have several reasons for doing all of this, but for me it is supporting my teacher. The main behind this now is supporting Dr. and Master Sha, because what Master Sha is offering is beyond our understanding. I've seen enough over 20 years. I've seen so many totally amazing things. As a doctor, we encounter things which we can't explain by science. We even say it is art, but even that may not be enough. You ask the doctors, and everyone who is really good doctor and honest doctor will tell you, well, probably about 25, 30% of my practice, I am feeling what's happening. I have like an intuition. I may not understand it, it's not entirely clear in my mind, but I feel this is what it is. Now that aspect is exactly what we are working on. That we can enhance these things and make us as a doctors better in offering our beautiful work for the patients. And so Master Shah is trying to do this, to show the medical world you can enhance all what you are offering already. You make it much, much, much better, much stronger. And at the same time, he is offering that to the patients' families. Then suddenly member of family become very ill. Everybody is feeling hopeless. But his techniques give the hope because family members can help the father, mother, wife, husband, children. Like I helped my mom. Anybody can learn how to do it. So if we can show people in the way, there are people who need to have some proof, some research behind to understand it, see the proof. If we can offer to them and they read and then, wow, I may try this. I do not understand it, but I may try it. So that's my goal, to open the door to Master Shah for many, many people who are there and who desperately need the help. Like if you see what's happening now in India, it's heartbreaking. And we could offer something to all those people. We could. Yeah, so that's my goal.
Wonderful, wonderful, very, very exciting. It all, I guess it sounds all so incredible because I guess it is incredible, and just this aspect of you shared that, yeah, to comprehend it. The beauty is we don't have to comprehend it. Some of us love to understand, but the most important aspect is for us to experience it. The opportunity to see, a lot of people are struggling these days, and it's very exciting that we have so much available to us. And I'm very grateful for you, Dr. Peter, how you can assist us to understand things on this level of medicine and science, because so many people talk in this language and understand this language. So I'm very grateful for how you're bringing this aspect, bringing it all together, which is very, very exciting. So Dr. Peter, it's been an absolute pleasure, as always. Very much looking forward to connecting with you again, same time next week, and of course the workshop. At this point, I'll hand it back to Alexander. Thank you, Dr. Peter.
Thank you, Lex, having me.
What a great pleasure it's been to be here today, and to just hear this beautiful conversation and hear from you, Dr. Peter, and that little history lesson and the connection back to Hippocrates and talking about the spiritual element of healing, which is really something that maybe a lot of people wouldn't have lost, let's say, in the modern world. And just to explore that concept is such a beautiful thing, and everything that was shared today was just excellent. So thank you so much for being with us, and we do have a very, very exciting opportunity to join with Master Peter on a global webcast next weekend, the 22nd and 23rd of May. You can join wherever you are around the world, and that will be an opportunity to dive deeper into this wisdom, to get that understanding from Dr. Peter, who was a research professor and neurosurgeon for years before he met Master Shah, and now, as he shared, is pioneering this research with the Shah Research Foundation, but also really creating that spiritual connection and service through of these very, very unique tools. So find out more. If you have any questions for us, you can message us through Facebook, through our Master Shah Dow Centre Sydney Facebook page. So feel free to contact with us, leave some comments in the comments box as well, and you'll find the link there for the workshop too, which will give you a little bit more information. So for the time being, we'll see both of you again at the same time next week at 10 a.m. and next Thursday. And for now, we'll say goodbye to everybody. And thank you again, Dr. Peter. Thank you, Lex. It's been a great pleasure.
Bye-bye.
Have a great day.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Peter. Thank you, Alexander.